Hey, welcome back. Today we're talking about the 5 ways to get your boundaries respected in a relationship. If you're new to the channel, my name is Eboni Harris, relationship therapist. I speak on all things love, sex, and dating. So if you're interested in having a more fulfilling love and sex life, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification button so that you don't miss a thing. So the first thing you can do is to stop blaming others for your boundaries. Stop blaming them when they overstep. That happens in any type of relationship. When you try to set a boundary, especially if it makes the other person uncomfortable, they're just gonna see if you're really serious about it. So you have to be the person to take responsibility for your boundaries, and you have to be the person that reinforces your boundary. You cannot expect to say something or tell someone that this is a boundary and they're gonna automatically do it. In an ideal world, yes, people will respect your boundary, and there are times when people will automatically, once you say it, they'll respect your boundary and they won't cross it. But when you've known someone for a very long time and they've been crossing all over the boundary the whole time they've known you, it's kind of difficult for them to get to a space where they're automatically like, okay, I'm never going to do this again. So just recognize that you have to be the person to reinforce it, and it's your responsibility and no one else's. The second thing you have to do is what I talked about in a previous video. The number one thing you need to do to have boundaries is be willing to walk away. You have to be willing to truly say, I cannot deal with this, and I'm going to do whatever it is to protect myself from this behavior or from this thing. So again, it's not about completely leaving a situation. It doesn't mean you can never talk to that person again, but it just means if this continues to happen and I have to change the way I interact with you, I have to hang up the phone, I have to walk away, I have to get in my car, I have to get out the car. Whatever you need to do to get out of it so it doesn't turn into a huge issue, or so you're not blowing up or upset because this person did not respect what you asked of them, you have to do it. The third thing is being completely honest with yourself and trusting your gut. There are times when we feel uncomfortable about a situation, we feel a little icky, but we can't necessarily pinpoint what it is. I don't know what this is, I don't know why I don't like it, but I know I don't. Don't doubt that feeling. It's there for a reason. Our bodies tell us things that our minds sometimes cannot comprehend. So when your body starts to tell you that this isn't a good space for you, set the boundary and keep going. Understand whatever the reason is, even if you can't articulate it, it is okay for you to still say, I'm not okay with this. So for that reason, I'm going to stop interacting with it. I'm going to stop having you around. I'm going to stop talking about it. Whatever the case may be, trust yourself and be honest with the feeling that you have. Don't bend and don't be flexible just because you can't necessarily articulate what it is. Number 4 is to be clear with your partner. You have to let them know what it is. And I know the last one was like, if you can't articulate it, but even in that situation, even in a place where you can't necessarily say, this is why I feel this way, you can say, hey, I have a feeling and I don't like it, and I'm going to try to avoid it. So because of that, I'm going to walk away, I'm going to separate myself, or I'm going to do A, B, or C when I have this feeling again. So just be clear that, hey, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to you, but I have to protect me, and I know that if I don't set this boundary, then we are going to have bigger issues later. So make sure you let your partner know up front in the most calming time when y'all are not arguing, when there aren't any issues. Hey, the last time we talked there was a problem, or today I don't like the way that went, so let's just not do that anymore, right? So just let them know, be clear that this is something I need, this is a boundary I'm setting up, and this is what you should expect if you choose to cross that boundary. Because if they choose to cross it, it's okay for you to then reinforce it and do what you need to do to protect yourself. Number 5 is probably one of the most important ones outside of being willing to walk away. Number 5 is to be consistent. Depending on the type of relationship, people will push you and then push you and then push you. You have to be consistent so they can understand how serious you are about having this boundary. So make sure that when you decide that you're going to set a boundary, that you are always clear that this is the boundary and you're never allowed to cross it. Because the moment they get an inkling, depending on the people, the moment they get an inkling, they're going to try to run all the way over it. So be consistent, be clear, and just make sure that you're always setting the same boundary, and don't be flexible and don't move that line. Okay, so those are the 5 ways to make sure that your relationship boundaries are respected. So let's review them one more time. Number 1, take responsibility and stop blaming others for your lack of boundaries. Number 2, Make sure that you're willing to walk away if the situation calls for it. Number 3, be honest with yourself and the feelings that you have, and even if you can't articulate it, it's okay to still set a boundary. Number 4 is to be clear with your partner about the boundary and what you plan to do if they continue to cross it. And number 5 is to be consistent. Make sure that you're always being consistent in, this is my boundary and this is what I'm going to do, so that people can start to understand how serious you are about your boundaries and so that you can put yourself first. I hope that helps. Let me know if you have any other suggestions on how to have clear relationship boundaries and to make sure they get respected. Please leave them in the comments below, and let me know if you try any of the ones I just gave you. Okay? Talk to you next time.